How do you top your love for your cat? With a cascade of decadent savory gravy over a mouth-watering mousse pâté. Fancy Feast gems. 2 gourmet pâtés in one convenient pack. Simply peel and plate to reveal a pyramid shape that makes eating delightful and pamper her with an experience as extraordinary as she is. Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast gems.
Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
For a limited time at McDonald's, get a Big Mac extra value meal for $8. That means 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, and medium fries, and a drink. We may need to change that jingle.
Prices and participation may vary.
This podcast is supported by FX's English Teacher. Last year's critically acclaimed series returns to follow Evan, Gwen, and Marky as they vie for their students' divided attention. See why Cosmopolitan called its premiere season a masterclass of comedy, while Glamour raved it's the year's funniest and most heartwarming new comedy series. FX's English Teacher, all new Thursdays on FX. All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
Tom, better space food, Tang or Pop Rocks?
Pop Rocks.
Yeah?
Pop Rocks. I haven't had a good Pop Rocks in a while, but there's some birthday parties coming up for the kids. So I'm going to try to hunt down some Pop Rocks.
All right. I just remember as a child of the 80s, there being in that sort of moral panic that always existed, that some kid had died eating Pop Rocks and parents got very concerned about it, that they were dangerous. And meanwhile, I love Tang. And I will actually go with Tang. I think it's a wonderful beverage. And there was something about the clinking of the spoon in the glass and watching that stuff stir. And it was better than High C, better than Sunny Delight. Kind of had all the nice sugariness of a soft drink without the fizz. Tang is awesome. It still is. So I'm going Tang.
Tangtastic.
This is Pack Your Knives. I'm Kevin Arnovitz.
And I'm Tom Haberstroh.
Tom, final 6, getting down to it. We have an episode that completely embraced its urban identity and having NASA in Houston as our elimination. Mm-hmm. Equally so, the Houston Farmers Market, one of the great Mexican farmers markets in the country. We've got our 6. And I kind of want to just go over it with you. We kind of had tiered it out. I think you and I agree that kind of Buddha is the most threatening chef. We had DeMar and Evelyn kind of right there, Nick, Ashley, Jay, a couple different tiers. But this was an interesting episode in that respect, don't you think?
DeMar finally slipped up. He had a rare big mess up this episode, not just once, but a couple times screwing up, and shaked him off of that pedestal at the top tier. He's fallen down, in my opinion, after a shaky performance in this episode, Kevin. Very, very stable chef up until this point, never phased. And this time for the first time in a long time, he showed that he is not invincible. A couple things we'll get to later on the DeMar front, but this episode, I enjoyed the space stuff. I don't know. I geeked out over that. That was really cool. Getting to see the astronauts, talking about astronaut food, because I always thought it was just this chalky, when you go to those astronauts science gift shops and you eat some astronaut food, it's that chalky white thing. I don't even know what you call it. Oh no. Ice cream, the space ice cream that you always ate.
Oh, the Dippin' Dots. That kind, essentially. Oh, isn't dip like that's kind of? I should have included that in the up top.
It's the ice cream of the future. It's not the ice cream of space.
I love Dippin' Dots. I love Dippin' Dots.
It needs to innovate. It's always been the ice cream of the future, and it's been 30 years of the ice cream. Has anyone worn out their welcome, or
no?
At least
it's still great.
Milked the whole idea of the future more than Dippin' Dots.
I don't know, man. I'm a huge fan of thing. So to your point, this is an interesting episode if you're somebody looking to sort of make distinctions in the final three, because there are 6 contestants. There are 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom, both in the quickfire and the elimination. And guess what, Tom? The 3 on the top for the quickfire were the 3 on the top for the elimination. The 3 on the bottom were the 3 on the bottom. So if you were looking to sort of draw those tiers, I think it's fair to say that episode 10 gives you the guideposts to do that.
So one thing that's interesting is I think both of us would not necessarily put Nick above Damar in our power rankings, Kevin. But one thing I found out as I'm digging through the history of this season, Top Chef season 19, is that Nick hasn't been in the bottom 3 at all.
Mm-hmm.
This entire season, he has never been in the bottom 3. Buddha's been in the bottom 3 twice, Evelyn twice, Tamar once. Ashley has been in the bottom 5 times. We'll talk about that later. But Nick has the highest floor of any of the chefs in this competition, and is in the Mississippi Baker, winning another quickfire, his 3rd quickfire challenge that he's won. He's only won 1 elimination challenge, but in terms of performance, I don't know if people would say that he has the highest floor of any of these competitors, but right now he does have the highest floor. He has not been in the bottom 3 at all this competition.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's some interesting stats there, kind of lists of, contestants who in the first 10 weeks did not have a bottom 3 elimination. And I'd be really curious to see sort of where it ranks. You're right. He has a very high floor. He does not make food that does not taste good, which, go figure, is a really nice quality to have in a show where you're cooking for judges. And all his food tastes good. Is it? And I think he has sort of been a stealth survivor. But as you said, more than a survivor. I mean, Ashley's sort of been a survivor, right? Like, I can't remember the last time she obviously won a couple of weeks ago, but I feel like she has flirted with disaster for so long. There have been so many miscues, and yet here she is in the final 5. But you're right. Nick does not have the accolades of Buddha, who's got 57 points, or overall has had a 57 point performance, only 52 in our counting because we don't count the first week. Jackson was on fire until his unceremonious losses front of the house. Evelyn's been rocking it. She's in the high 40s overall. But you're right. Nick has sort of been hanging around. But I didn't even think about it. You're right. He has not really made a bad elimination meal.
He hasn't. And, he's known as the Mississippi Baker because he stacks all that bread. He wins another quickfire challenge, but first,
isn't that great that you throw out you put $10,000 on the table and that guy's going to win.
Yeah.
By the way, he always does decently, but I mean, if there's a correlation between incentive and performance, I think Nick has kind of leads all 19 seasons in percentage of the times that you win when money is on the line.
That's right. And look, Damar had some interesting game theory on this episode, a little bit of planning out, doesn't want to give out too much of his tricks. He wants to keep his bag of tricks a little tied tight for the final stages here. We'll talk about that later, but let's talk about this quickfire. Houston Farmers Market, like you said, it's a segment sponsored by our friends at Chipotle. Not Chipotle. I always see that on a menu. It's one of my biggest pet peeves is seeing Chipotle on a menu.
But they transpose the L and the T?
Yeah, I see that all the time. Chipotle is giving $10,000 to the winner. But more importantly, Kevin, forget the sponsor, forget the actual challenge itself. We see Claudette. Claudette is back on the show, and it was great to see her. She's been on Pack Your Knives, and she was a wonderful guest. If you haven't listened to that episode.
Tom, anything else?
Just in a puddle of tears right now. I feel so bad for trading Claudette. I'm so sorry.
Whatever, Tom. Whatever. I gotta change my hashtag now. Now I'm Team Kevin and Team Tom Colicchio.
go back, listen to Claudette Zepeda on Pack Your Knives from her season. She was awesome. She's spicy. She's someone who is one of our great villains that we've had on Top Chef while we've been doing Pack Your Knives. And here, it was great to see her, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't even want to say villain. I just think not afraid to be confrontational.
Yes, but a villain by Top Chef standard.
Yeah, right. Not afraid to, resent competitors who make your life harder, wanting to make it a little harder for them.
Yep.
And, as someone covering the NBA playoffs now, where like it's really getting kind of heated in these games, like it is, I do miss the more confrontational.
Those hard elbows.
People who want to rip your heart out. It's a competition, as we like to say. So it was great to see her back. Fajitas are delicious. I was a huge, it was sort of one of these foods that became popularized outside of Texas in the mid-late 80s. And I remember getting to Atlanta, there was this restaurant called Rio Bravo that was like the first upscale Mexican that had great queso, which I would always put on the fajita tortilla. It was food you can play with, and it was always sizzling and delicious. Like it's good dinner and a show food. And so I was happy to see.
It's a crowd pleaser.
It's a crowd pleaser, Tom.
The fajita is a crowd pleaser. In this episode, we had a pretty wide variety of uses of the cast iron skillet there, the fajita style, where essentially Nick just did this tri-tip and with a black bean braise, and he actually made his tortillas, which scored a lot of points with the judges. Buddha did the same thing as well.
Well, Buddha did not make his fajitas, or make his tortillas rather. No, I don't think he made his tortillas. Oh no, I was shocked he didn't get dinged for that.
Oh, so he bought some at the market, and then
I think so. I don't think he made his tortillas, and I was certain. I was like yelling at the screen, like, dude. Never. They always ding you for store-bought stuff that other people make.
Wow. Oh, Ashley made her tortillas, right?
Yeah, she made. So it was just one of those things. And Jay was unsuccessful, but made her own Korean crepe. I really liked the idea of what she did. The gochujang with the Korean crepe, but unfortunately the crepe stuck, and she ended up on the bottom. To no surprise, Evelyn came out with a great one. Beef fajitas, marinated papalo, which for my money is just cilantro by another name. It's nasty. With poblano and salsa verde. You want to talk about Damar? Kind of, nobody really took to it.
Yeah, the seared steak, the grated chicharron. I love the idea of a grated chicharron. Give it some crunch, give it some fat on top of it and some flavor. The relish didn't hit, too sweet. The mango salsa you heard from Claudette asking, why'd you go with the mango? And he just wanted that, kind of sweetness to it. And it didn't work. So Damar dinged for this quick fire on the bottom, which was a foreshadow to where he was later in the episode. But Ashley, she didn't have the salsa. Her cheese stuck to the bottom. She's also in the bottom with Damar. And Jay, like you said, didn't have the crepe. So it seemed like everyone not everyone, but a lot of the chef testants struggled with time management on this one. And really Nick came out on top. So look, Buddha, I was surprised Buddha didn't win this one because he was called the overachiever of the day. He made corn sing.
Yeah, by the way, what was the implication there?
He had a lot of elements. He had a lot of dishes as part of his spread.
Right, because the corn, they love the corn, though. They loved the corn.
Yeah, and the weird thing is that I think Nick also had a pretty impressive spread in front of the judges, and so Buddha got extra praise for that, but didn't come home with the cash because that's Nick. He's the bread man. He's the baker, the Mississippi baker. He wins again, and he's going to be paying the tab at the bar later that night.
Yes, he put money on the line, and Nick is all of a sudden. Voltaggio. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So let's go to the elimination. I have some questions, Tom.
Yes.
So first of all, I'm with you. I love kind of the milieu of this episode. They're in the space station. I thought the astronauts were really fun and not self-serious. It was a really pleasant place to spend time. I love that they did this thing. Here is my not critique of the challenge, my critique of the contestants' interpretation of the challenge. So it's space food. I'm like you. I'm thinking you got to do something that's a little dehydrated and this, that, and the other, that there would be very strict parameters. So the parameters that we're told, or the contestants are told rather, is don't create anything with lots of crumbs. Don't do anything with excess liquid.
that can just pop off and bounce off the walls. Yes.
Okay. And yet then we see a bunch of judges go and make things like gumbo, like stew, like gravy. And and then sort of to the extent that many of the contestants incorporated the parameters and themes of the episode, it just became like, oh, you're up in space, you're far away from home. I want something that reminds me of home.
Yes.
Like we've done that 40 times. That's all. I mean, 35% of the damn challenges on this show are some callback to childhood or something your mom used to make or something that reminds you of home or something that reminds you of your heritage or something. And that's all good. And I love that. But I just felt like by the time we were at the table, with the exception of Buddha, and I'm really glad he won for this reason, that nobody else really particularized their plate for the challenge. I would say this, Ashley did. Like Ashley,
yes.
And I know her dish wasn't executed beautifully, and the tuna was bland, but I give her at least because everyone else is just doing like, okay, I love Evelyn. She's my contestant. I'm a huge fan of her cooking. You know what I think? She's a Chef Gregory disciple, but like, okay, like what is a pork stew? Oh, but it's got some texture. Yeah, well, so every food's supposed to have texture. Like, oh, they like hot sauce. Like, it kind of degenerated into this. Like, by the time we got to Nick's gumbo, which looked delicious. I mean, who doesn't want Nick making gumbo for them? But I'm just thinking, like, why is this space food? It's wet. Isn't that something that's going to, like, when the guy's throwing this gumbo up in the air, it's going to go everywhere? Like, I don't know. Like 4 of the 6 contestants ultimately just made stuff that reminded them of home. 2 dishes were good, 2 dishes weren't good, but they had nothing to do with space. And I just I was looking for more molecular cooking. I was looking for more dehydration. I was looking for, even the themes. And I just didn't get that. And I kind of thought, I'm glad Buddha won, and I'm glad Ashley did not go home, because they're the only 2 of the 6 contestants who didn't just say like, oh, space is far, home is close. I miss home. Let's cook home.
Kevin, I couldn't agree with you more on this take. I couldn't, because also the thing you didn't mention, but if you think about it, isn't rice just fancy crumbs?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, you're right. Because when you're making, there's always one that gets over here, one that gets over there, and
right.
Yeah.
Like you don't eat rice without getting a couple off your plate and in your lap, right? So like when Jay and Damar are making a rice dish, they're essentially making crumbs. They're creating a dish based on one of the things you're not supposed to do, which is have these things, these little small things that can break off and fly everywhere. So it's a total disregard of the challenge. And I felt the same way with you, is that I think when they were struggling to come up to conceive with these dishes, Kevin, they decided, I'm going to spin a narrative that makes this feel spacey. And inevitably, it just became a garbled mess about missing home. And I was like, I get it. There's that story angle, but none of these dishes, with the exception of Buddha and Ashley, felt very, if you looked at it, if you ate it, really felt spacey at all. So totally with you on this. And I got to say, Buddha, he's mastered Top Chef, whether he wins this or not. What he did in this episode and what he continues to do on this show is not just have incredibly thoughtful dishes that weave right into the challenge itself. In many ways, he called it Pavlova 14. He had the golf ball because of Alan Shepard played golf on the moon, and then it like had the dehydrated elements to it where it was just an A+, right? And I appreciate what Ashley was doing here, because for the first time, it seemed like Ashley joined the competition. And I know she won the restaurant wars because she was the matriarch of Matriarch, the restaurant, and she was the executive chef there. But I really felt like this was the first time where I felt like Ashley figured it out. With the exception of the tuna, I disagreed with the way she cooked it. I know the judges were saying you need to cook tuna through, but I'm sitting here, Kevin, I don't like cooked tuna. Do you?
I'm with you. And I'm now a person who, when I order fish at restaurants, often I'm like, undercooked, please. But so anyway, it's kind of coincidental. There is a restaurant from the Andrew Michael guys in Memphis called Bishop, and it's very nice. It's in the cool new like boutique hotel. And one of their specialties is tinned fish they get from Spain and Portugal. So I've been eating there, and it's just so coincidental. Now, I think their point was, if you're going to poach, you got to poach in oil. Number one. Number two, it is true that as much as I'm with you when you're doing that kind, like you would never want to open the can of tuna for your tuna salad and it being like kind of raw. Like it's like that for that kind of tinned fish, you do want it cooked through. You don't want it overcooked. But I kind of got what they were saying. And I'm with you. But I think on this particular species, it's like, you know what it is? It's like it'd be braised meat. Like I used to love rare steaks when I ate steak. But if it's a braise, that's not even on the table, right? Like you wouldn't want, like, you got to braise it. Like that's what makes it. So I think it's kind of the similar, but I think like, yeah, she missed by not poaching in oil.
I want to give a shout out to a restaurant here in Charlotte that does a pizza where they have the shears on the table.
Ooh.
Stagione's is this Italian joint in Charlotte, which is great. Like if you're coming through Charlotte for a long weekend, make sure you book a reservation at Stagione's in Myers Park, Elizabeth area. But the idea is like when you get the pizza at the table, Kevin, they don't cut it up for you. You cut it up yourself with the scissors, these industrial sized shears. And it just is more satisfying that way. You know, it feels kind of cool that you sit down at a nice Italian restaurant and then you just have this like toolkit and it's like, oh, this is cool. Same thing with Ashley. I felt like all the people who were eating that dish had a lot of fun with it. It was thoughtful. It didn't land with the way she cooked the tuna, but I felt like she really understood the challenge in the same way that Buddha did. Nick produced a really good dish, but for me, it was just kind of like, yeah, you could have done that on any challenge.
Right. It was, hey, I'm bringing my bunk up a lot. By the way, one thing I was pleased about is the gumbo I grew up eating in Charleston that my grandmother made also had butter beans. I think someone at the table, maybe it was Gail, who said she'd never seen, or Tom.
Yeah.
So you always had butter beans in ours. It was, now we were kosher, or my grandparents were kosher. So it was always like, we'd have maybe some pulled chicken in there, but it was mostly okra, butter beans, onions, tomatoes. But butter beans were a big part of it, and maybe because we didn't have the protein. But I'm a huge fan of butter beans and gumbo.
Hello, listener. It's producer Maze here to talk to you about Kindred. Now, close your eyes like Owen Wilson during a job interview and imagine a way to travel that feels personal, comfortable, and connected without the price tags and the sterile feelings of hotels or short-term rentals. Now open your eyes and stop using your imagination because Kindred has made it very real. That's exactly what they do. Kindred is a members-only home swapping network. It's not a hotel. It's not a short-term rental. It's a smarter way to travel where each stay feels like home. Here's how it works. With Kindred, your home is your ticket. You earn credits by hosting fellow Kindred members, and then you use those credits to stay in over 220,000 homes in more than 100 cities worldwide. There are no hotel costs or rental fees, just the credits that you've earned. Every stay comes with white glove service, 24/7 trip support, and $100,000 in host protection. Make it easier for you to travel and enjoy yourself and not worry about details. I've used Kindred and I found an amazing home for a weekend getaway in an idyllic location with amazing views and great ambiance. It had everything I needed. And the best part was, it cost me $0. So apply now at livekindred.com and use code DINGS to join for free. Plus, you'll earn 5 nights of travel credit just for signing up. That's right, that's 5 whole nights for free at livekindred, KINDRED.com, code DINGS, DINGS, livekindred.com, code DINGS. Hello, listener. It's producer Maze here to talk to you about Quince and their cookware. Cooler nights mean cozy meals at home, and Quince's cookware has made fall cooking so much more enjoyable. Their pieces deliver the quality and performance of luxury brands, but at a price that makes sense. And they look gorgeous on the stovetop, too. No matter what item you need to complete your kitchen, Quince has you covered. With 5-ply stainless steel pots and pans, nonstick skillets, chef-quality knives, and even ceramic bakeware, which is perfect for cozy casseroles or Sunday roasts. And when you look at these prices, you might think, how is Quince doing this? How do they deliver high-quality items similar to high-end brands that are half the price? Well, let me tell you, they partner directly with ethical top-tier factories to cut out the middlemen and pass the savings on to you. And it's not just cookware. I got myself some bath sheets. That's right. When you're a tall man, you have to use bath sheets, not bath towels from Quince. It's like drying off with the cloud. It's incredible. Upgrade your kitchen for cozy fall meals with premium cookware from Quince. Go to quince.com/dings for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dings, DINGS, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dings.
Listener, listen up. This is important, okay? I'm going to try to save you some money here. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. You may think like, oh, that's bad. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. Here's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. You heard that correctly. $15 per month. Ditch overpriced wireless and the jaw-dropping monthly bills. And of course, there are all these hidden fees and stuff, but at Mint Mobile, plans start at $15 per month. All the plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text. You're not doing like weekend and nighttime minutes or anything like that. And it's delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone. Don't have to get a new phone. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. I switched months ago. People have asked, did you actually switch? Yes, I actually switched months ago. And I don't know what to do with all this extra money. I've cheated the system here. I've rigged something. This is an Ocean's 11 situation where I'm stealing wireless from Mint. That's how good a deal it is. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/dings. That's DINGS. That's mintmobile.com/dings. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 per month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least that was the plan. Except now the dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
But you're right. But Tom, like, that's just one he's been having in his back pocket. Like, what the hell does that have to do with space? Nothing. And it's wet. Yeah. Again, I don't understand. like I kind of, as a judge, would be like, did you people not hear anything? Like, basically, the only parameters here is no crumbs and no sauce or liquids.
Yeah, I guess a liquid is like, you can't do
soup or something.
Yeah, you can't have like a brothy soup, but like a stew, a gumbo, that's towing the line. It's a very borderline.
I guess so, yeah.
Excess liquid.
I'm just confused.
I'm with you, is that if you had told me, hey, they're going to do space food, and you said gumbo, I'd be like, what? No, that doesn't really make much sense. But I appreciated the, it was cool to see Melissa do the Zoom call with the astronauts in space. I didn't even know you could do that.
Yes, that was very fun.
And it was cool to have the chefs watching it on the IMAX theater at the Space Center. All of those elements were great. And when it came down to the food, I'll just say it. I thought DeMar was going home.
Yeah.
I thought he was going home. Like, it was close with Jay. Evelyn was fine. Her pork and chili soup, the guisa rojo, was great. Flavorful, but the same category as Nick, where it was just, okay. I don't understand how that's space food. But DeMar, I really felt like his rice that he overcooked into a mush, and yeah, it had some redeeming pickles in there. I thought he was going home. I really did. And for me, I kind of felt a little bit when Jay was announced as the eliminated chef, Kevin, kind of felt like, you know, they sent Jackson home because he had a bad dish and there was no cumulative scoring system. They didn't keep him just because he'd been just crushing it beforehand. The first thought that came to my head was, I think they wanted to send Jay home because I think DeMar is just clearly in that top tier.
That wasn't my interpretation. Mine was that it was so clear, and especially from the comments of Gail and Melissa, that the judges were so repelled by her meat.
Gail didn't eat any of the protein. Yeah.
I mean, look, we always say you got to nail the protein, right? And it wasn't like her barley saved her. So I just interpreted it as, and someone said, I think it was Tom, there, or maybe it was Padma, the two components of her dish both failed, right?
True.
Whereas at least Damar, he had some, the rice was overcooked. I mean, the chicken was a little bland, but it wasn't, whereas Jay just they were so clearly repelled by that meat. And I mean, vaporized, which actually does have sort of a space connotation, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what Melissa said, it vaporized. But so I wasn't completely surprised, but you're right. It was a particularly bad day for Damar overall. It is, this was a little startling because he's been so good and so consistent for so long. But it's, the tears are really, I'm going to give Damar a pass. I'm not ready to say that he's somehow down in the.
He had a bad shooting night. Okay.
He had a bad shooting night. And I mean, here's the question for you, Tom. If you had to pick one, who goes farther, Damar or Nick?
Damar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think we'll get to a point where Nick is the kind of chef who's going to go out on a pretty damn good dish. But we're going to get to a point where Buddha's hit his stride. Evelyn just doesn't make mistakes, for God's sakes. I mean, she just is, again, I think she's
a machine.
Right now, she's a machine, and she's the number 2 chef. She got some separation from Damar here. But I will still take Damar by a hair over Nick, higher ceiling. And I think we're about to get to the ceiling portion of the show.
I agree with you. I think Damar is still right there in it. Nick is probably right below. I wanted to ask you about Damar's, not a confession, but saying that he's holding back. He's not giving his best stuff every time because he wants to keep it for the finale. And I'm curious about your thoughts on that strategy, that Damar is still keeping a couple things in his back pocket, which it's a risky thing when you do a rice and chicken gravy that just misses the mark. He almost got sent home. And I guess this is kind of the same thing where you're in the NBA playoffs, and you don't want to show all your cards because scouts are going to watch you run your best plays. And so the Ty Lue theory is wait until the playoffs or wait into the finals to bust out your best stuff so you can catch the opponent off guard. And Damar says the thing, which is I'm holding back until we get to the finale. And I guess that's kind of, you got to do that on some level. You can't just burn all your bullets in the regular competition and then have nothing left for the finale. But it seems like Damar is making a conscious decision here to not coast, but make sure that he has his best foot forward when he gets to the finale. He almost didn't make it.
Yeah, I'm sort of a couple of minds here. I mean, one is, it totally makes sense, right? If you have some absolute killer dishes that can win you a title, and that there are going to be some more open competitions coming up. I mean, again, as we know about the finale, there are pretty much no limitations, right? It's understandable that you might want to hold something back. I think you could also argue that the really great Top Chef champions, there's no limitation to their creativity. Fine, you can hold something back, and oh, by the way, you got 10, 12 other things you can do.
Yeah.
Especially on a week. And I think this is what I am a little confused by, is clearly he interpreted the challenge as do whatever the hell you want. He was of the 4 chefs. He was part of the 4 chefs who basically said, oh, it's home. So I'm just that's what was so surprising. I understand, as you said, Ashley's, tin tuna that wasn't sufficiently seasoned and was not poached great and whatever. But Damar, I don't, to me, they're not mutually exclusive. You can hold your great stuff back and still do a little better on a challenge when you basically ignore the parameters than chicken gravy and rice. And for God's sakes, cook your rice well. So I'm okay with holding it back, provided that you still have that your B through J games are still pretty good.
Kevin, I was fascinated by the fact that there is a culinary doctor. Dr. Grace Douglas on the show. She is the head of the menu at NASA. And I was wondering, Kevin, that's got to be a fun interview, right? If you could interview or meet someone who just curates the menu for astronauts, that's got to be pretty fun. That's a really interesting job. What are the prerequisites for that job? Do you have to be an astronaut? Do you have to be in that field and then just really like gastronomy?
I think it is super cool.
Or do you start with the chef world and then just be like, I really like space?
I mean, I don't know. It'd be really interesting to hear about that journey. Like, is it a case, as you say, where, oh yeah, I'm a trained culinary at CIA, Culinary Institute of America, but I always kind of had a sciencey background. I always loved the sort of the scientific components. I'm into that molecular gastronomy thing, and then I kind of got one engineering degree, but I always had a passion for cooking. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, how do you back in as a scientist into I'm a food lover, or are you a chef who says, yeah, I've always sort of approached my cooking as sort of a chemistry experiment, like many have. I don't know. Oh, so do you have some research here?
I have her LinkedIn page. Okay.
Let's see it.
She went to Penn State, food science major, got a Bachelor of Science at food science, and then got her MS at NC State in food science. And then she got a PhD in functional genomics. Am I pronouncing that right? Genomics? Genomics?
I mean, I guess the study of the genome.
Yeah, so she started going into food science and then functional genomics got her PhD at North Carolina State. She's a Wolfpack, and then she became a food scientist and advanced food technology lead scientist at NASA for 9 years. That is a cool job.
That is a cool job, cool life. Yes.
I was tickled by all the NASA stuff. And I had this question for you too, Kevin. What's the most crumbly food? Is it a Nature Valley bar?
No. I like these bars called Power Crunch bars. So in the large universe that is these like meal replacement bars, there's one called Power Crunch. It's a Canadian company, actually. And it tastes like those wafer cookies, and like kind of the texture is that. And the peanut butter one is my favorite. And I kind of got arrogant into them, but like the rule in our house is like you basically have to eat it over the sink. Like there's 100% chance that shit is going to go everywhere. And so I was in the airport. I was stranded at DFW yesterday for like 5 hours, and they actually have a 7-Eleven in the DFW, like a real kind of 7-Eleven with like.
And you're hunting for that bar.
And they had them, and I bought 2 because I just hadn't eaten all day because they don't feed you on planes, which is fine. But I just made a freaking mess. Because there were no sinks. I was embarrassed for myself. It's like, because I am kind of a neat freak, and there's nothing worse than like being in an airport gate area late in the day, and it's like people have just trashed the place, and it's like you don't even want to sit on the chair. And I created a mess just by eating my bar. And so that is the crumbliest food, the Power Crunch bar, but it is the best of the bars.
I feel like the Nature Valley, you always just have to have like a bib on to eat those things. You take one bite and it's just everywhere. Also the same as the biscotti on Delta flights or any of the flights, really.
Oh, those you can kind of contain though.
I don't know. They're pretty crumbly. They're pretty crummy. Not crummy in the bad sense, like it's bad tasting, but crumbly. I feel like they're pretty crumbly. I don't know.
I think someone should have just like as a troll made like hard cookies or something. Like I just
Chips Ahoy. Yeah, hard cookies. Yeah. What about one of my favorite moments of this episode, Kevin, was the aluminum halos that Buddha made. He's such a master of Top Chef, Kevin, that he's just making aluminum halos just for shits and giggles on this show. Like he's got time. He's making to keep people, the aliens, not to detect him on Earth. Kevin, I'm going to just go ahead and say it. I'm going to say it. If it's Buddha or the field, I'm taking Buddha.
I'm taking Buddha. I was about to say the same thing, Tom. Like I just think there's enough of the wow factor that the finale requires. I mean, I think Evelyn has a shot, but I just feel like Buddha is constructed for a pie. Did you notice that in the quick fire, he had like extra time? Like someone said, "Oh, you did all this in 45 minutes." And I think he actually had extra time. And I just think that in terms of management and conceiving of a coherent meal, spectacle, technicalities, I think he's really, really apart from the field, I think. And again, I give Evelyn a puncher's chance, but I have trouble seeing anybody else in a 4-course finale beating him.
Yeah.
He also does dessert. By the way, he's going to win the dessert category in the 4-course meal. So give him a point already.
Buddha is a mad scientist.
He is.
He's there with Dr. Grace Douglas. He's got a PhD in Top Chef.
He's there with Dr. Julius Irving too. He is just like he is just there with all doctors.
Jay goes home. Any thoughts there? I thought she was a really strong competitor, and who knows? We're going to talk a little bit of the Last Chance Kitchen, not talking about the most recent one, which it appears to be a two-parter, Kevin. But we're going to talk about she's going to Last Chance Kitchen. Jay as the Korean Cajun queen just didn't. This was a. The bulgogi idea made sense, but then she shifted. She pivoted, saying that it's not the traditional one that her mother makes, and it just fell flat. And I felt bad for her because I love watching her on this show. And she talked about in her exit interview just how she's proud of the fact that she didn't have full command of the English language and she was still able to get this far in the competition. I do think in some parts in these episodes that she did operate at a disadvantage on those narrative ones because she's not a native English speaker. And so I think for her to get this far in the competition, who knows, she might come back into it. I thought she did a great job on this show.
I enjoyed her work, and she had a couple big wins in the elimination. We'll see what she is as a Last Chance Kitchen. Can you give us sort of the quick rundown of not the most recent, but the preceding one with Luke?
Yeah, Sarah and Luke. I was actually kind of disappointed in this, not because it was a bad episode of Last Chance Kitchen. I was disappointed because I wanted to see the blind taste test, Kevin, of this competition.
Oh, they burned it in Last Chance, huh?
They left it for Last Chance Kitchen, and Sarah did incredibly well. She got 10 of the ingredients correct, and Luke only came up with 5. As someone who seemed to only cook seafood on this season of Top Chef, I was very worried that he would just come up empty, bumpkiss for the blind taste test, but he comes up with 5. He said the cilantro tasted like parsley to him, which I get it. It's just bad parsley.
It tastes like ass.
Yep. And he does a cauliflower with coriander cream with a purposely broken sauce. And Tom's like, wait, this sauce was broken. Did you mean that? And he said, yes, I like broken sauces. And so he gets dinged.
It's like Sam all over again. I like shitty potatoes.
I actually like a grilled potato. So then Sarah does basically carrots with tons of spice. She used all 10 of her ingredients. It was a little bit confusing on this Last Chance Kitchen, Kevin, because they only could use the ingredients that they correctly guessed in the blind taste test. However, you could use other ingredients and spices in there. So it was almost like they did the blind taste test, but it wasn't restricted to just those ingredients. You just had to use those ingredients in the dish. And it felt a little, I don't know, contrived. They only had 20 minutes to do it. And Luke doesn't win. He didn't use salt until the very last second and then used too much salt, and they made a big deal out of that. Probably a product placement for Morton's. And ultimately, Sarah moves on. She is a juggernaut. She has won, 6 in a row or something like that in Last Chance Kitchen. She didn't get back into the competition because Ashley won her play-in. And yet Sarah has to be considered the favorite to come out of here when she meets up with Jay. So this is I'm rooting for Sarah. Even though Jay's on my team, I'm rooting for Sarah to make it back into the competition.
Now, I don't think people can turn off if they think this is going to be a spoiler. I'm very concerned about something I saw at the end of the episode. Are we about to see like a quick fire a Last Chance Kitchen where like everyone gets to come back in with a chance?
No, I think what that was is I think it happened in the last couple seasons where they come back to be the judges. They come back to
I think I saw like one of these. Are they going to come back and be the sous chefs? I don't know, man. I'm very concerned that they're going to do something like let everyone back, give everybody a chance.
I hear it. Yeah.
LCK needs to stay restrictive. It has to. I understand you're going to there are a couple opportunities to come back in, but I just feel like given what Sarah has done, she should have a decent path to get back in at this point. You can't win that many competitions and then sort of like just be told, oh, now everyone gets an opportunity.
Yeah, it would really suck if Sarah just didn't get back into the competition. She was just stuck in purgatory.
I'm not going to get overly worried yet. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's sort of it. By the way, I think if she gets in, man, I think she's got a chance for the finale. I mean, I think she's got a puncher's chance. I think
you're right. I'm with you.
I think you could slot her in right behind Evelyn potentially.
I also think she's a great character. I love her personality. Yeah, it's great for TV. She really gets the medium. She's funny. She's bubbly. She's super smart. She executes really well. Luke, she was like, Luke was asking her, hey, do you have any tips for me in Last Chance Kitchen? And she was just basically like, fuck off. She's like, nope, not giving you anything. And I like that spice. I like that. Claudette, a little bit of Claudette in her. And like, come on, this is a competition.
They've missed her. I think Sarah would have been a really good additive to the main show for much of the season. She got eliminated early. So you've only got to kind of enjoy her as an LCK competitor. And I think she would have really lent some more texture to this season. And again, I'm not complaining overly. I just feel like we a couple different personalities. The alchemy in this particular season has been fine, but Sarah would have added a lot to it.
100%. I'm excited for Spaceball Buddha winning this competition. I'm excited that he's on my team. Not excited about my other competitor, Ashley. She's not doing so well. You've got Evelyn, Damar, and Nick on your squad. I think I still have the champion on my team. Ashley has been really struggling to assert herself, but I loved her thinking on this episode. Kevin, I'm excited to see where this goes. Padma in the little preview said, Buddha, this is the most rustic dish you've made for us all season. Gave me a little bit of uneasiness, but as we've seen on this show, maybe that's just a juking of the audience to juke them to think that Buddha is going to land in the bottom. That's all I got for this week, Kevin. I'm excited on your travels to hear where you've eaten, and I hope the NBA playoffs continue to serve you well so we can get some more tips on what restaurants you're eating on the road.
Yes, I will have a report or two from San Francisco next week. And thank you to listeners. For Anthony Mays, our producer, for Tom Habester, this is Kevin Arnovitz, and this is Pack Your Knives.